Welcome to Mayor Emanuel's third Facebook Town Hall at Kennedy King College here in Inglewood. I'm Tony Schofield, and I'm joined by Nina Chantel and a wonderful live studio audience. You guys give yourselves a round of applause. All right. Now, it's been nearly a year since the mayor took office, and tonight's an opportunity for you to ask questions and share ideas for Chicago. The questions tonight came from you at AskChicago.org. They had more than 300 posts, and you cast over 1,500 votes to help us determine the agenda for tonight. So for all of you watching online, keep the questions coming and the conversation going on at Livestream, Facebook, and Twitter. And before we get into it, I want to send a shout out to all the folks watching at viewing locations across the city of Chicago. And with that, welcome Mayor Rahm Emanuel this evening.
Thank you.
How you doing this evening?
I'm good.
All right. I got to cut right to the chase. Bulls in the second game of the playoffs tonight. We're without Derrick Rose. What are your thoughts, Mayor, on tonight's game against the Knicks?
Well, first of all, the Bulls, just like the city, they got heart.
That's right.
They got soul. And while it's unfortunate what's happened to Derrick, we got a great team with great coach. Focus ahead, don't look behind, and I'm all confident about the Chicago Bulls.
Were you watching the game when the injury happened? Did you freak out?
There's two questions. Which one would you like to answer? Okay.
Both.
Yeah. I was watching the game.
Did you freak out?
When I heard what happened, I freaked out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same.
I think we all held our breath for the longest period of time.
Yeah, we did.
So.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right to it.
I want to say one thing, guys.
Okay.
A year ago, we were over there.
I know.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I know.
Do you like this setup a little bit better? We were at a table with the coffee
The light's
mugs.
perfect for you right now. Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
and same with you. Your hair looks good.
I never get any
Makeup's in
compliments when
effect,
we
too.
do this. I swear I never get compliments when we do this.
I feel like
Is
this
it
is
aware? Just a year ago, our first town hall here in the studio here in Kennedy King in Inglewood, and while we have a different perspective of the studio.
That's right.
We have the same focus.
Yes, we do. But I like this setup. We've got
Okay.
live people in the audience. You know, we've got bottles of water as opposed to the
Well,
mugs.
we're going up.
We're good.
Yeah, we're
Are you-
going uptown. We got bottles of water. Okay.
You ready to get this ball rolling?
Yeah, let's
All
go.
right, let's do this.
Because I don't know. I want to say this. I don't want to be a loser. I want to go home and watch the game.
All right.
All right.
All right, so
I want to
let's
answer all the
Let's
questions.
get right to the questions.
Yes.
The mayor wants to
You
say
are ready. You sure you don't want to say something else before I start?
No,
Because
let's
we're going
go.
to get right to it. Lots of questions have come through.
Okay.
And we're going to start with our children. The number one question in the Our Children category, if you're so interested in improving the schools for our children, why don't you add quality to the day? We need more teachers, new and updated textbooks, computers, science labs, smaller class sizes, not more time. Time isn't going to move CPS forward. Resources and teachers will. Resources in 6.5-hour day is what is needed. What do you have to say about that?
Well, first of all, time, or rather quantity and quality, go together. They're not separate. That's a mistake. When I was at Disney Magnet School, that had gone to exactly what I'm talking about, kind of day, the teacher that was a reading class, said that the extra time allows her to focus on each student individually. Some students go at one pace, other students go to another pace. So you can't get that quality on a short time. The quantity is an opportunity. I have talked to other teachers and principals throughout the system who actually talked about the fact that they collapse science and math. And in fact, it's one class now, not two separate classes. Why? They don't have the time. Social studies is eliminated. So to get the quality, they're not wrong about quality, but quality on a arbitrary deadline of 5 hours and 45 minutes, the shortest day of any major city in the country, the quality on the shortest school year where you're rushing through the material just to finish it rather than spending time on reading, spending time on math, spending time on science, spending time on social studies. Because in schools across the city, in fact, principals and teachers decide, oh, we're not going to do social studies. We don't have the time to do it. So time, the quantity, gives you the opportunity to provide the quality. And they're not inseparable. Do we need, in fact, technology in classes? That's why we have one of the largest capital investments to build 3 new schools. 14 schools are going to get additions so we can deal with overcrowding. I don't disagree with that at all. In fact, 100% pushing the Chicago Public Schools to have a very big, significant investments in new schools, new facilities that are then modern and updated. But these, for too long, everybody's kind of thought these are either or choices. And across the city, teachers who are great and principals are making arbitrary choices because of this artificial schedule that has held them back. And I've heard it firsthand from teachers. They have dropped classes, combined classes. That's the quality that's been missing. We now will have a minimum of amount of hours on reading, a minimum amount of hours on writing, math, history, science, social studies. The STEM education is essential, STEM being science and math. And we got to give kids those times. Today in our schools, those are collapsed classes. Why? We have to fit it all in because we have a short day. That's all for everybody that's raising this, not everybody. A lot of people raising this is because they don't want people to focus on the fact. They want to think, oh, it's either quantity has nothing to do with it. No, in fact, the quantity has actually degraded the quality over time because it's shortchanged.
You've thought this through, Mayor.
Well, no, I have thought it through. Look, this is a very significant thing. And to date, the school system was all about the adults. Why is it that Chicago has the shortest school day and shortest school year? Tell me the benefit. And it's not just short. That means teachers don't have individual attention to students on their reading. Some kids go faster. Some kids don't. On a short day, you're just going to rush through the material and you're not going to worry about the kid that needs special time on reading or the other kids that can advance. This is a false distinction. The time of day and the time of year is an opportunity to give the quality that has been shortchanged for the last 10 years since 2003 when we negotiated a shorter year to the shortest of any major city in the country.
Wow. And we're keeping with the theme of education. Our second question is about school choice, and it comes from Jim Bosco. When will Chicago permit school choice? Charter schools are a Band-Aid at best. They cannot absorb enough students, i.e. grow fast enough. Their performance is actually questionable. The only real solution is to honor parents' wishes and let them, as the primary educators of children, choose where they want to send their child. When will Chicago get school choice?
Well, Jim has a very good question. And first of all, I want to say what's embedded in the question. For a teacher to succeed in that classroom, the parent has to be a partner. That's number one. No parent gets off on the education of their children in the sense of off a responsibility or being held accountable. I can say in our house, and I'm sure it's in other people's houses, the parents, or a parent or grandparent, the adult, teaches children the value of an education. You teach them the importance. A teacher will succeed. A teacher will succeed when the parents take responsibility. That's number one. Number two, I want people to understand this in our city. What we're building is, in fact, choice. I am not for charters. I am not for magnet, selective enrollment, neighborhood, turnaround, military. I'm for educational excellence. And each one of those can help you succeed to get to that. And I want parents to have the choice. Some parents will want neighborhood. I want those neighborhood schools to raise the bar. I'm not going to let you year in and year out be on the failing list and give no kids or the parents the choice for an opportunity of success because I'm scared of politics. I will not let politics get in the way. You want to send your child to a charter, which is a public school? We're going to make that available. But the charters, you got to raise your standards. You want to send the child to a magnet school? We added 2,500 kids, opportunities to magnets. Those are all tools or roads to educational excellence. We got to make sure all our parents throughout the city have a choice between neighborhood, magnet, selective enrollment, military, international baccalaureate program, schools, high schools focused on science and math. In fact, in our high schools, we're making more choices available to parents. Choice is key. I want people to have that choice. They're right. Charters are not the answer. They're part of the answer. Educational excellence is the objective, and then everything else is just a road to it.
Wonderful. Now, you know, this town hall, we decided to do social media. We've got the audience. We also took it to the streets, and this one's coming via video. So let's take a look.
You guys are so hip, man.
Hi, my
streets,
name
Mayor.
is Janine, and I'm from the south side of Chicago, the Chatham area. I have a question for the mayor. What's the hardest thing about your job?
Well, I wish wish she was coming back live, I would talk. Here is, well, first of all, let me say this. While I focus on the hardest part, and that's a good question, the thing that I'm most excited about from this last year, that we've proved, I think, as a city, what I fundamentally felt in my bones, that the challenges facing the city are no match for the character of the people of the city of Chicago. Prior to this, I think people walked around, you know, like, well, we got these big problems. We're up to these problems. These problems aren't bigger than us. We can handle this. We just got to have the political will to solve them. That's one. Two, I think we can all establish the fact that I'm kind of impatient. Okay, let's just deposit that. Mayor's impatient. Things move slow in city government. Every I's got to get dotted, every T's got to get crossed, and it just adds. Now, there's this story. I mean, one commissioner told me about that to get from X to Y, we were building something. It would take to 2016 and 2017. I said, what, are you kidding? Now, in fact, because I said that, and I made them come back in a report, we found we took 2 to 3 years off of that. It saved time and money. It was not just time, but that time was money to the taxpayers. The government sometimes just moves slow. And the hardest part is getting adjusted. Now, the other part, let me say this more personal. The hardest part of this job, that's kind of something, actually, the first answer was things that frustrate me. The hardest part of this job is we have kids growing up in neighborhoods where there's no connection. And there's a look in their eye that I would not accept from my own child. There's nothing there. And violence is too normal a part of their experience. And not being able quick enough or to change that, or in a way to touch them in a sense where they give them some sense of hope or possibility. And here we're in Englewood. We're a community college that's giving people opportunity. We all know within about 4-block radius of this school, there are kids growing up where the possibility of a future, the possibility of a better future just seems too distant. And if you ask me, the hardest part of this job is not being able to give kids that sense that yes, they can be part of a better future, that they've been beaten down, that thing that is so essential to youth, that optimism has been kind of sucked out of them. And if you ask me the hardest part of the job, that's the hardest part of the job, is I want our kids of Chicago, everywhere in every neighborhood, to know they have a future, that when they look at downtown, they can see themselves there. With all the opportunity, all the possibility that downtown has implicitly in it, I want all our children to know they have a chance at that. That's to me, and some kids walk around not thinking that. And that to me is the hardest part of this job.
It's great to hear that in a mayor.
Yep.
It really is.
We got to get that optimism back. All right, our next question is coming. Of course, there is no question that Chicago is a city that loves its food, Mayor. And the next question is about food trucks, and it's entitled Free Our Food Trucks. Legislation to reform the food truck ordinance in Chicago has been stuck for almost 2 years. Now, in this time, peer cities have gained flourishing food truck cultures, which promote community activity, bring in millions of dollars to local economies, and add value for both locals and tourists. I would like to know when food truck legislation in Chicago will be able to move forward, and if the city will facilitate two-way conversation between the Restaurant Association and food trucks instead of separate meetings for both groups.
And I will say, this was the number one
It was
question.
the number one question.
I want you to
The
know.
We
number
want to
one
eat, Mayor.
question.
People,
We want to eat.
we want
This
to eat.
is the most important that came in through social media.
I got this. Let me say one thing before I get to the food truck
We
question.
want a food truck outside right now.
I got
this.
it. I got it. Let me say that one of the issues I've worked on, as you know, is the food desert issue. I'm going to get to food truck, which is separate. But for a lot of people who want the opportunity to go to a food truck versus a restaurant, for a lot of other people, there's no fresh fruits or vegetables within a mile of their home. And so we're going to solve this problem, so just wanted you to know. But the food truck issue is a high-class problem compared to what parts of our city. So I want everybody a little context and a little perspective. There are parts of our city, 450,000 residents, do not have within a mile of their home access to fresh fruits, vegetables, or meats. that liquor store is their grocery store, and that's wrong.
It is.
It's
That
wrong
is
for the
sad.
kids, it's wrong for the economy. So I brought the First Lady, Ms. Obama, in town. We have a conference, we have new stores opening, new availability of fresh fruits and vegetables in parts of the city that haven't seen a grocery store in decades. So I want people to remember when they talk about they want to eat, we got parts of the city I want to participate. That's one. Two, now I worked with President Clinton on negotiating with both the Palestinians and Israelis and the Jordanians and Israelis. That has well trained me for the negotiation between the restaurants and the trucks in the city of Chicago. Okay,
You are
never
hilarious.
never have I called on the skills I developed in the White House with such need. In short order, we'll be dealing with this issue.
There'll be a pizza treaty.
There will be a treaty. There'll be a sign. It will have a green line, just like in that part of the world. No, this issue. Look, we have to respect the established businesses, and we have to respect the fact also that new businesses want to come online. And finding that common ground, we are close, and we're making progress on that.
So we're all about the hot topics, right? There's another one that has been complete buzz in Chicago, and the question's coming via video, so let's check it out.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. My name is Donna. I stay in the Wicker Park area. I'd like to know, why are you cutting these programs from the mental health facility? What is they going to do?
Well, she's actually asking, why are you cutting mental health funding? What are these people going to do?
Yeah. Well, first of all 2,900 people that are provided healthcare, mental health benefits in the city of Chicago will continue to receive it. First.
All right.
Second, when we dealt with the first 2 of the 12, we gave everybody a CTA card so they could make the transition easier. Third, this is not about the provider, this is about the patient. Remembering who we serve. Because of the reforms, 1,000 patients today, on top of the 2,900, will now get new care, psychiatric care. That's a third increase. We went from 2,900 patients, so we're now going to have 3,900 patients getting care. I worked on mental health parity in Congress, making sure insurance companies had to cover mental health. This is important. But doing it the old way meant 1,000 people did not get the care. We brought reform, we brought change. 1,000 new people are going to get mental health benefits they didn't have before. So if your thoughts are focusing on the patient, that's exactly what I'm doing. 1,000 new patients will get care that they didn't have before. If your thoughts about the provider, well, then the 1,000 patients will be without the care. And I think that's the wrong choice. And in a series of things across the city, recycling. Half the city had it, half didn't. We didn't think about the changes necessary. Now we're on a road because of competition. All the city's going to get recycling. We've brought a new attitude is who are we serving? The taxpayers and the residents of the city of Chicago. In this particular area, I've thought long and hard about it. I know change is not easy, but we've made sure that the change is easy on the patient. We've added more patients to our care. We haven't thought about the provider as our #1 interest, but the patient's our #1 interest. And because of that, we've not only added the psychiatric care, we not only gave them a card to make sure the transition's easier, we're now working, which we hadn't before, with 60 different community groups throughout the city providing mental health benefits, or coverage rather. That's a major change. And if we stuck with the old way, 1,000 people wouldn't get the benefit. That's a 1/3 increase. When other cities are making major dramatic, and states are making dramatic cutbacks, we're adding people. That's a different way. Yeah. And I'm glad she asked it because people should be cared. These people are in a vulnerable position, and you should care about them, but care about the 3,900, not just the 2,900.
All right. Our next question is coming in also via video, so let's see what the next Chicagoan has to say.
My name is Dave from the Belmont-Cragen area, and I have a question for Ron Manuel. And I would like to know what you're doing to bring jobs to Chicago.
Hot topic.
I know. Dave was wearing a Cubs hat. Dave must have been filmed during March. That was a warm day he did that. Look, the 2 standards I have on everything we do, does it help us grow our economy, and does it help families raise their children, and the quality of life? Those are the standards in which we judge everything. Just a couple weeks ago, we announced that we're going to make we put an integrated plan together on our investments in our roads, our bridges, our water system, our schools, our community college. putting 30,000 people in the city of Chicago to work building a new and better Chicago. That's number one. Two, we've been aggressively recruiting companies to come to Chicago, expand their facilities. If they have something like General Electric, they have 1,100 employees, they're now going to be 2,100. United Airlines, 1,300 additional employees to their operations center. EMC, which is a data storage company, is adding jobs here in Chicago, a couple hundred. So everything is about recruiting companies. I think we've done about 30 companies adding to 15,000 jobs. But then the decisions we make on our schools, the decisions we make on our community colleges, making them more career-focused educational system, improving the quality of life throughout the city. That's all about recruiting businesses. And then there's specific things we've done as it relates to on small businesses that are really important. This, I think next week when city council meets, we're going to take the city business licenses from 147 down to 47. Cut them, consolidate them. We have more business licenses required on our small businesses than Los Angeles, Phoenix, Philadelphia, and Atlanta combined. Those four cities those cities combined, all together, have 97 business licenses.
Wow.
We have 147. Now, you can't say Chicago's any better, healthier, or safer. So we're going to take them down to 47, make the burden on small businesses much easier. So all that's about creating an environment for jobs. And in the last year, well, it's, part of this is overall the national economy and the state, our unemployment has dropped 1 full point since the time we've been in office. There are other things that are happening outside of our control, but we are making the right type of investments where businesses, as I said, 30 businesses are expanding their presence and their footprint and the jobs here in the city of Chicago.
Good news.
Let's go to talking about vacant properties and public safety. This comes from Trey. It says, why are property owners not held legally and financially responsible for vacant properties? In particular, banks and absentee landlords. When buildings sit vacant and unmaintained, they serve as welcome signs to criminals, gang members, and vandals. If these owners were held responsible for their properties, either the properties would be better maintained or the city would collect revenue in fines. Either way, the citizens come out better than they were.
Who asked that?
Trey.
Trey.
All right.
That's my homie.
Okay. Trey is absolutely right. And people, it was my first budget town hall was held here at Kennedy King. And there was a gentleman that asked about making sure banks were held accountable. Now, first of all, banks, when I came into office, banks owed the city of Chicago about $7 million. Wow. We have cut that by 2/3 and went after them and said, look, you owe the city this money. Two, with Alderman Pat Dow, we passed landmark legislation as it relates to foreclosed properties and dealing with banks. And in just a few days from now, because I just saw the numbers, we will release the results of that work, where bank paying what they owe has significantly increased to the city because of this landmark legislation. And Trey's absolutely right. These both financial institutions, landlords, have basically walked away from these properties and left blighted areas that affect every other homeowner down the block. And that's wrong. We're going to hold them responsible and accountable. And he's right about that, because it has anytime you have a foreclosed property, foreclosed, which is not the, Trey asked about it's different parts, but foreclosed, everybody else in the neighborhood takes about a 10% hit on the value of their home. Wow. Down the block.
Just one property.
Single property, you board that up, foreclose on it, everybody else takes a 10% hit down the block. Which is why the sooner you can move to rental, even if it's a single family, get it on the market so it's not boarded up, doesn't have the kind of environmental atmospheric effect on the rest of the neighborhood, the better you can be.
Wow. Our next question, Mayor, comes in, and it's a very hot topic nowadays, green technology. One of the most promising areas of economic growth is in green technology and sustainability. What is Chicago doing to promote tomorrow's green entrepreneurs and problem solvers better than other competing cities in the U.S.?
Well, first of all, there were three, just so you should know this, and I'm proud of this, Siemens Corporation, with 2 other cities rated Chicago, 3 in total, Chicago, received the Siemens Award for Sustainability and Investment. That's number 1. So we are actually in the top of the class on this. 2, part of what the investments we're making on our infrastructure, our water, our weatherization and retrofit, are all about sustainable technology. All the street lights, and traffic lights are going to become energy efficient lighting. We lose every month, because of lack of retrofitting, we lose about $1 million in taxpayer money literally going out the window. So building an expertise in the retrofit space, if we do the fixing, not if, we are on the water and the sewers, we'll save 2 years worth of water to our homeowners. That usually gets lost through seepage in the pipes. 2 years worth of water for the entire city of Chicago.
That's awesome.
3, we are the capital of most headquarters for companies that produce power by wind. Here in the city of Chicago, we're not just the windy city. We have to have the most headquarters for wind. And in my first year, we shut down, or have now a process that both coal plants that were left in the city are going to shut down. That affected the kids' health care that lived in and out. So from a sustainability basis, and that includes, I didn't even add it, investing in our mass transit system, which is an alternative transportation from cars. So at a number of levels, water, mass transit, investments in what I think are essential other types of retrofitting, so green technology, and the companies that come with it, and the sustainability and the investments in our retrofit, we are making those. And that's a top priority in dealing with what I want to believe is creating an environment to nurturing the companies that will create that type of technology.
These are all good questions, good topics. So we're going to get to pedestrian safety. This comes from Justine. She says, as a mother who frequently has to cross busy streets at crosswalks with my young child, I find myself appalled at the amount of drivers who do not stop for pedestrians and crosswalks. It is state law that at a crosswalk, drivers must stop for pedestrians, even in the absence of a stop sign. This city needs to post clear signage to that effect. I've seen the bright yellow signs with the arrow pointing at the crosswalk with the man walking, and drivers blow right by these again and again.
I could have used her during the speed camera debate. Well, this is exactly, that was my point. Well, first of all, let me say this. I know she's saying this as a mother with her young child. 1/3 of all children walk to school.
Yeah.
Okay? Which is, now I'm not looking for another, hey, look, I don't have enough political fights. Let's have another one. You know, I don't have enough challenges. The reason I dealt with what we dealt with as it relates to speeding near our schools and parks is exactly this that. People don't abide by it. When we were having this debate, WGN went out near Lane Tech High School. 10 minutes, 65 people they caught speeding. Next to Lane Tech. And it's on, you know, Ashland, it's on Addison and Western. You can't put a speed bump there. And those are all kids coming right out of high school, you know, bolting out that door. She's got a young child, sounds like. So there's a lot of, cars don't abide by it. And public, as it relates to safety, the speed cameras, tougher curfew, after-school programs, and making sure that we have the best cameras as it relates in our schools for safety, all part of making sure our kids are safe. And the cameras, when I dealt with that, were all part of ensuring that we can create the best environment for our children who do walk to school, and for other kids who are walking to the bus, have the type of safety they need and protections they need. And I would say this, the only item I didn't touch in the entire city budget was our crossing guards, because they provide an essential service to our children.
Absolutely. Well, since we're talking about our children,
Yep.
let's go with nutrition education. What does nutrition have to do with chronic illness, poverty, water scarcity, pollution, the clearing of rainforests, and climate change? Can we just start teaching our children that nutrition has everything to do with these questions?
I felt like it was like that was a Jeopardy question.
I know, I was getting ready I was going to do the music.
I didn't know.
Can we make, basically, can we
20
make
seconds.
nutrition fashionable?
Okay. Well, let me say, it's interesting you got that question. One, I don't want to tout this, but you know, we have the largest, most comprehensive wellness plan of any company or public entity, City of Chicago. 42,000 of the city employees will now participate. This week, there was a very, very important study that came out that obesity among children, let's just take obesity among children, forget the workforce, but it's important. And I'll come back to that in a second. That we have a severe obesity problem among children, and children are resistant to the basic medications that deal with diabetes that comes out of obesity. And it takes more, haven't quite figured out Unlike adults who can take medication for diabetes, kids who develop diabetes type B, which is a direct result of obesity, are actually resistant to the medication. If you deal with just obesity, you'll deal with both heart disease, blood pressure, and diabetes. 3 diseases that all come out of style of life in the sense of, now some of this is genetic, but part of our wellness plan is going to focus on obesity because you will deal indirectly with diabetes, blood pressure, and some of the other illnesses. And for our children, it is even more significant because they do not have the type of medication that can beat back on diabetes. And it's essential, and the best way to deal with it is the obesity issue, not managing merely diabetes. You've got to deal with obesity, which is why the First Lady has been focusing on this. And I've been trying to deal with the same issue from a city basis, and it's true. And if, we have a plan on the wellness. The mayor of Baltimore, she and I have been talking about doing things jointly about how to make sure we have a more comprehensive wellness plan. 6 illnesses: blood pressure, smoking, overweight, cholesterol, smoking, all manageable. They drive 2/3 of all the healthcare costs in the city of Chicago for the taxpayers. Wow. Just 6, and all, it's not like broken leg, cancer, other types of illnesses that you can't manage. But if you change behavior in each of those, you can actually dramatically reduce healthcare costs and your quality of life.
Yeah. I know the guy who wants the food trucks is not going to be happy with that last answer right there.
Okay, well, good.
Maybe if you park the food trucks 2 miles away from each other. You know what I mean? You want some food, walk down there and get it. And then have the truck driving real slow. You got to catch it. So,
you know what? That may be the last
rolling
mile for
food
closing.
Trucks.
Rolling food
rolling
truck.
Food
you have to walk along and get your food there.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
You know what?
We're
in the final stages of this negotiation. I think you've got the trick that will close the gap right there.
Rolling food truck.
It won't stay there.
Fight obesity and get a sandwich at the same time. I mean, come on.
And just throw the bread out while you're getting it, right?
You want condiments? Meet me on the next corner.
Right.
All right, you know what? Let's keep this going. We got another question coming in on video. Let's check it out.
Hi, my name's Richard. I've come from England and I'd like to ask the mayor what he's doing to promote tourism in Chicago.
Well, we let foreigners ask questions about here, man.
He's talking about tourism. He's here already. I mean,
He's here. How are you going to bring tourists to Chicago?
I don't have to answer his question. Okay.
he's going.
How much did he spend? I'm not answering unless he put $2,000 down in the city. All right.
Tell your friends to come here too.
Yeah. This is more than you guys want. Here's the thing. We are doing great as a city in the convention business. We had got an agreement with the Teamsters Union and the Carpenters. We brought McCormick to a very competitive basis. We're now winning shows that we lost to Vegas. They're coming back, like the car wash. And big business, our hotel business, occupancy, up in Chicago, first 3 months. McCormick Place, the driver of that, and that means more people are getting hired at the hotels, at the McCormick Place, at the restaurants, all associated with that industry. Where we have lagged is tourism. We actually are 10th in the country.
Wow.
Now here's what's interesting. If we increase tourism, we move from 10th to 9th. You know what that is in jobs? 25,000 new jobs.
Wow.
Really?
Just from 10th to 9th.
Wow.
And the way you do that, we had 3 offices all set up to be promoting. Now let me ask you a question. If you're trying to promote, would you create 3 offices? No. So we consolidate them, and now we're doing more advertising around the world and around the country to promote tourism. We had, when we got the Nobel laureates that were here last week, huge amount of press for the city of Chicago throughout the world, and we were on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, in the New York Times, on CNN, and in media and outlets all over the world, bringing recognition to the city of Chicago, promoting it, advertising it, which is also the benefit you saw the other day when NATO and the 60 world leaders come here. It will directly result in about $128 million of economic activity in the city of Chicago. And we're putting no money into it. The feds are, and the private sector. And we have all the upside. So all that is about burnishing Chicago's image around the world. Chicago, another example, Chicago Symphony just went to Russia. And we did, for the first time, that we're promoting Chicago with the symphony. And as our cultural entities travel around the world, I want them promoting Chicago. They're our best
Absolutely.
ambassadors. So that's all about bringing in the tourism dollars that will help us create jobs directly here in the city of Chicago.
Not to mention the Mag Mile, all the shopping that people do. And the fashion designers and everything have been coming to Chicago too. That brings a lot going on too with all the magazines, like you're on the cover of Michigan Avenue magazine, things like that.
Well, I don't think that's going to increase tourism, though.
Well, you know what? The shopping and putting it out there that the mayor's on the cover.
Okay.
Let's talk grid system. Why can't we have a grid system for street cleaning and garbage pickup?
That's what I love about this job, man. You go from fashion to grid. Let's go.
This person, their name is Jean, says, I live in Wicker Park, and due to gerrymandered ward boundaries.
Somebody said gerrymandered. All right.
She's smart, man.
The boundaries, the opposite side of the street is cleaned and garbage collected by different wards. Furthermore, the new ward system will complicate this even further, splitting our community into 3 parts. Don't the citizens get any vote on community ward boundaries?
Well, there's a couple different questions. Let me focus on the grid.
Okay.
All right. We're on our way to adopting a grid system for garbage collection. She is, Jean was her name?
Yes.
Right? Jean's right. We today pick up garbage based on a political map. Our garbage is $120 more per ton than the nearest, than I think Los Angeles. Just because we don't do it, if you went straight rather than turn because of a ward map, just the efficiency alone would take $20 million out. Just efficient. And if you do it citywide, $60 million. Wow. Just doing it like FedEx and UPS do their planning. So we're now very close to, in the first 6 wards, going to launch grid garbage rather than political map garbage collection. It's that simple. Straight lines, don't turn. Turn takes time. If you take time off the clock, you're more efficient. You pick up more. And it's just that simple, but it means there's political issues, but we passed it. We're going to have a grid system in the city, and we're going to start picking up garbage based on efficiency and taxpayer savings, not based on a political map that's arbitrary. And when we do that, you can take $60 million out of the system in total. And I think it's the right thing to do. And I think we can be sensitive to each neighborhood in doing it. But we are literally on the doorstep to launching what has been a debate for 15 years in the city. We're past debating. We're now going to do the right thing.
All right, speaking of neighborhoods, our next question is about infrastructure. I'd like to hear your plans on improving our infrastructure so business and neighborhoods can thrive. Specifically, 1, expanded L service. We need a new inner ring. 2, maintaining roads and repairing potholes. 3, upgrading underpasses and bridges. And 4, more bike lanes.
Who wrote
Another Jeopardy question.
Who is this?
No name.
No name.
John Q. Public.
Okay, let me just say something. John and I are the most interested in this subject, okay?
I'm interested in the potholes,
okay,
yes.
I'm going to go, well, first of all, let me take one step back. This is, in my view, an essential discussion. First, I don't create jobs for the businesses that you were, one of your earlier questions about. I create conditions so businesses can create jobs. The infrastructure, moving goods and services efficiently and people, is one of those essential conditions. Second, we've laid out, as I've said, a comprehensive plan, probably the most integrated one of any city right now. From our parks, to our airport, to our mass transit system, to our schools, our community colleges, to our roads, and to our water system. $7.3 billion in the next 3 years, creating 30,000 jobs here in the city of Chicago. All building a new and better Chicago, in my view. Now, we're going to build 2,000 miles of rebuild and repave, rather, 2,000 miles of road. 300 just this year alone. 2, 900 miles of water pipe will be rebuilt. That's everything that's 100 years or older. 650 miles of sewer, either rebuilt or relined. 160,000 catch basins, totally brick by brick rebuilt. The roads over it. We're going to lay broadband. The 2 water sanitation plants, 2 largest in the world here in the city of Chicago, built. pumping stations, all that work. The gentleman that asked is absolutely right about the essential. We just launched the red line fixes on the north side, new stations on the south side. We're going to replace the track, so we're going to get rid of all the slow zones. So run on the Dan Ryan on the red line. None of those 15, you're supposed to be passing the cars on the Dan Ryan, not going behind them, okay? We're going to have that happen. We're going to actually, for the first time, have a new station at McCormick Place, so we don't lose shows. So rather than taking a cab or a bus, you're going to actually be able to take trains from downtown, which will allow us to get international shows there. So all this investment, our airport, we have the most competitive airport in the world, 4th busiest. I want to expand the runways and all the access so we can continue to attract the businesses that know they can get anywhere in the world, anywhere in the country from Chicago. All that's essential to attracting the businesses. We've put that plan together. I think this is important for our neighborhoods, our downtown, and all the small businesses and families that rely on it. The fact is, here's like one example, take CTA. In a single month, we have more people ride the CTA in the city of Chicago than all the year of riders on Amtrak, nationwide.
Wow.
See, little factoid.
I'm learning some stuff right now.
This is Jeopardy.
Yes,
okay? and like the red line, 38% of the people that ride the CTA take the red line. Yet the stations we're rebuilding were built in 1908. Teddy Roosevelt was president, and the Chicago Cubs won the World Series.
That long ago. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And then we're going to rebuild them and make them modern so they're part of the community, and the traffic going to and from work is convenient. That's the goal.
It's funny you should say that because actually a girlfriend of mine that's in the audience, she just sold her car like yesterday, and she said, I'm starting to just do public transportation. It's just that much easier, and that's exactly what I want to do.
Right there, man. I'll give you
so
you take your Chicago right here. I took the CTA this morning.
CTA car.
I take it in the morning, twice a week. It's the most convenient. And you know what? When I sat down with 12 employees from United Airlines who all moved from either Elgin or they moved from Houston. One of the things they said, we love living in Chicago. You know, on the CTA and we get down to work.
Yeah.
And their younger families talked about the schools. So all these investments we make in our schools, our mass transit, the safety in our streets, all part of creating an environment. Can you raise a family? Can you attract jobs? That's the standard.
Very important, very important.
So you're quite hip, and things are blowing up right now on social media like crazy. So we've got questions coming in through Twitter. Are you ready to take some?
Well, I want to hear what they have to say about that magazine and fashion and infrastructure, okay?
Hey, it's on my coffee table.
Yeah, and I'm on my coffee table. It's a coffee table, you know what the idea I wrote? Rolling food trucks.
Oh, you wrote that down?
That's where we're going.
All right, let's go.
All right, let's go to Twitter and find out what's coming in through social media. From Twitter at Which I Delight, can you please put an end to the road work at Sheridan Wellington? 8 months and no progress? Really? I'm going insane.
I'll be out there tomorrow and I'll check it out. Okay, I mean, Sheridan and Wellington, that's the road work there. She says 8
months and no progress. Really? I'm going insane.
Well, first of all, don't go insane. Just go around it. Okay, that's my only suggestion. I'll check on what's going on.
Really? You'll check what's going on? That's pretty cool.
Well,
the mayor's going to go check what's going on.
The person that's responsible is only about 3 levels up, so it's not going to take a lot. And guess what? I know my commissioners. They're checking on it right now. Okay?
And that person is sitting there. She's been sitting there for 8 months.
Yeah, she's stuck in traffic.
Just sitting there. It's been 8 months.
All right, no, that's a fair. Okay, what else?
Okay, such a down-to-earth guy. Love Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Let's go to video. Let's check out the next question.
Hi, Mayor. My name is Brandon. I'm from the Ecker Park area, and I'm wondering what can you do to help stop the violence, gang violence especially, and are you going to put more officers on the streets to stop this violence? Because a lot of kids are being injured and hurt over stuff that they don't have nothing to do with.
Question everybody wants to know, man.
No, I mean, this is like zero comfort, man. First of all, off of very low numbers, our crime is still coming down overall 11%. But Brendan hit exactly on the problem. The increase in violence, at least on shootings and homicides, which is what counts, all gang on gang, and innocent kids are getting caught in this. The streets of the city of Chicago do not belong to gangbangers. They belong to our kids and our families. And these gangbangers think that their streets are their personal shooting gallery, and they're not. Second, we have a gang problem that's unique to the city, Chicago. Other cities don't have that sense of quantity amount of gangs. And we have something that's recent, which is gangs inside the same gang shooting at each other. And they're catching kids in that crossfire. And I don't want, as it gets to the first question you asked, the biggest frustration I have is that's becoming a part of a normalcy that you're literally shortchanging kids their lives. They're growing up way too fast, experiencing the level of violence that they shouldn't be experiencing. And there are things we're doing specific. I just, by way of reference, we had a Pastor Hannah in my office from New Life.
That's our coworker.
That's
Okay.
our coworker.
I knew that. I was just sucking up to you. Okay. No, but here's why. First of all, I love his church. But he told me, I went to this church to speak on his Thursday night Bible study about the liquor stores. And they shut them down. Well, I went back to the office and said, I want to get an ordinance on this, and I want to rather than wait for a robbery, wait for a narcotics sale, I want to take the data proactively and then go deal with them and empower communities to shut or limit the hours. And we've passed that ordinance because of what Pastor Hannah did in your church. And we were talking today about his plans for the church, which I'm fully supportive of. But the liquor stores and these gangs are literally cancers on communities. And I won't rest until we get rid of them. And we have a problem, and I am on top of Gary McCarthy and Al Weisinger. We have put more police on the street. We have imposed a tougher curfew. I think we have the right strategy of putting more cops on the street and getting kids, guns, and drugs off the street. But we have to focus and bear down on these gangs where they have the full force of the law on them.
All right, Mayor, our next question is coming in from our live stream chat, and let's take a look at it right now. Imagine Inglewood if, what can you do to improve minority hiring on city construction projects?
Well, look, we have made major changes, and it's not just construction. From now on at the Public Building Commission that I chair, we put out minority contractors, women-owned and minority-owned. And we also put out, not just on the construction side, for the first time we also put on the professional side. How are they doing? Second, we've consolidated certain reforms. So the county, when you're certified to work for the city as a minority or women-owned business, that also applies to the county and vice versa. So you don't have to fill out paperwork twice. Make it easier. We have made on the construction. Let's say you have a construction operation going. There's about $25 million worth of work, fixing a fence or some of what's considered the minor work. We're giving that to small construction firms, 3-person operations. Not for the big guys, they don't need that work. But for a small firm, that's like a lot, that's good work, and that gets on the resume and that gets some credibility. Lastly, on the hiring side, part of our water investment we're making at the city, every one of the building trades has to make a commitment to train. Our 30% of the employees have to come out of the minority community and train them. You asked me about, I told you about crime. I'll give you another frustration. Do you know that the pipe fitters in the city of Chicago have about 1,000 open jobs where they don't have people trained for them?
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, no, we have this is part of the skilled workforce shortage. You have literally, don't forget, you got in Indiana at the facility for BP, there's like 7,200 people working there. They are literally bringing up, for other work going around in the area, for the pipe fitters, they're bringing people from Kentucky and Alabama up here.
Unbelievable.
Yes, because we have a shortage of skilled workers in the pipe fitter and welders facility. And so we're working with the pipe fitters to take them into churches and open up job fairs to get kids trained. It's 16 weeks. You're drug-free, you show up, you'll be amazed. And that thing, those jobs, $44 an hour, not counting benefits.
Really?
And they're working over, and you get overtime. Yeah, but we have a worker shortage. We have people looking for workers, and we have workers looking for skills. That's why we're changing what we're doing at the community colleges, and we're getting the pipe fitters involved with that. That's also true in our electrical workers and other trades. So matching people to the skills, opening up some of the work the city does, is all part of what we have to do. But your reaction on a serious note is the same one when I heard this.
Yeah.
No, we literally, in the state of Illinois and in the city of greater Chicago area, are recruiting people from other states because we are short of skilled pipe fitters, the welders that literally do things.
And those are good jobs that are available right now that we could have
40
in Chicago.
It's crazy that
40
one wouldn't know that, though. Like, how would one know that, you
Well,
know?
I'll give you another example. Community colleges are doing now training for what are called advanced manufacturing, the industrial maintenance. State of Illinois, I think the number, there's a guess, I'm doing it by memory, we had like 3,000 job openings.
Wow.
But you, guess what? You have to have math and science skills. That's why we're creating 5 math and science high schools in the city. But if you didn't graduate, you're not going to be able to go to community colleges. And if you didn't get the time in school focused on the right subjects, where in fact they were collapsing science into math because you didn't have the right time, guess what? And those jobs are only going to grow.
Yeah.
You need those skills. But you have today, people are in search of workers with certain skills, and I'm not talking about MBAs or law degrees. Basic skills, companies are in desperate need for workers.
Good to know. I just learned something.
For $44 an hour, I'm going to apply myself.
All right?
Mr. Mayor, I know that you want to get to the game, and we all want to see the game.
No, I'll answer the question.
But we do have we have time for one final question, and it comes to us from video, so let's check it out.
Hi, my name is Alan from the Bronzeville neighborhood. I have a question for Mayor Rahm Emanuel. What's the best part about your job?
What is the best part about your job?
Well, going to Chicken and Waffles in Brownsville, getting a good seat. Here, let me say this. I have been very fortunate in my life. I got great kids, great wife, great family. Everybody's healthy, everybody's doing well. On a professional side, I've worked for 2 incredibly great presidents. Not good, great presidents. I was elected to Congress, and I got the chance to serve in leadership. And in each of those jobs, I've got a chance to do something. This is the best job I've ever had in my life. I love this job. I find it energizing. I think we're being, in my view, we're focusing on the core essential things. I think we're leveling with people. We're telling them what I believe are the hard truths, even if they're not comfortable. I think we're making a difference and change throughout the city that I think is, in my progressive, in improving the quality. And fundamentally, I love the people. And people you had here, people are showing up here, but you walk around, people care about their city. They love this city. And I think the biggest thing what we've done is, when I first ran, people go, why do you want to do this? We got all these problems. What are you, out of your mind? You're crazy? Nobody says that anymore. We're a city on the move. These challenges are not bigger than the people of the city of Chicago. And all that we have lacked is a political will to solve them. And I find this incredibly rewarding. I wouldn't trade places today for any of the other jobs I've had or with anybody else. Wow. And I think that I love this job. I love the interaction with people. And even when the battles get heated and et cetera, if I didn't think we were doing the right thing, I wouldn't do it. And I think we're doing the right thing. It's difficult. We're making changes. We listen to people. But we are not going to be scared off from taking on tough subjects. And I love the people. I love the challenges. And I think we're building something exciting.
That's great.
Okay.
Well, I
do we have anything else?
Well, we do have other things.
I got Sheridan and Wellington.
And
somebody's stuck there losing their mind, and I got a rolling truck.
Well, the other questions that we do have that have come in, because there's several of them, like through social media, are we able to send them
Sure.
to you?
Give me one more. Give me one more.
No, and maybe like your office can reply to several of them throughout the week. Can we do that as well?
Yeah, but my closing statement, shut this off and go watch the Bulls game.
Yes.
All right?
And the Bulls are going to win?
Yes.
Absolutely.
The Bulls are going to win. Look, Bulls are going to win. We got a great coach, great team. We have I love Derrick Rose. Love watching him play. We got a deep bench.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
All right, and they have showed up for every game, ready for game.
You know, I have to ask, I'm sorry, but do you have a Bulls jersey? Like, do you
Yes.
go home and get out of the tie and the suit and you wear like a Bulls jersey?
All right, ready, here it is.
I need to see the vision of
Headband.
you
First of all,
watching
I
the
do
game.
I have a Bulls jersey, but I got Bulls feety pajamas, and I go sliding on the floor.
Stop it. You are
My
hilarious.
favorite thing growing up, we had a long hallway. Feety pajamas, just you go
Slide all the
running,
way
slide,
across.
man, just knock your brother's teeth out, hitting them on the wall. It was like
done.
roller derby at the house.
The mayor has a Snuggie. I'm done.
Go Bulls. On that note, we want to thank you once again, Mayor. Thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
doing this,
Round of
guys.
applause for our mayor. Doing a great job. Thank you. And a huge thank you again to Kennedy King College and our live audience as well. To all of you watching online and at viewing locations across the city, we love all the ideas coming in from across the city on how to keep Chicago moving forward. We couldn't have had this chat without you. So from Tony, myself, and from everybody here in Inglewood, good night, and thanks so much for joining the conversation.
Go Bulls!